If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of negative vibes, negative stream.
It is.
It just depends. It just depends on what.
It is
what
a sad
perspective you
bummer
take.
stream.
Go ahead, you're up.
Okay. So what we've got up next is the Smiths, Asleep.
See that?
What?
Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. And then leave me alone. Don't try to wake me in the morning, 'cause I will be gone. Don't feel bad for me, I want you to know. Deep in the cell of my heart, I will feel so glad to go. Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore. Sing to me, sing to me. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore. Don't feel bad for me, I want you to know. Deep in the cell of my heart, I really want to go. There is another world. There is a better world. Well, there must be. Well, there must be. Well, there must be.
All right.
Why do you think it ended like that?
I don't know.
Okay. That was...
These lyrics were
sad.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We did a lot of talking on this subject matter.
Yeah. You know what? Well, one thing, like kind of like another angle of this one that I thought was when he said, what does he say? I don't want to wake up on my own anymore.
Yeah, that was the big one that stuck in me too.
I took that as like being alone.
He's alone.
Yeah. And so I've told you guys this before, but you know, there's always new people. So growing up, we had nothing to do with Halloween. It was like the forbidden holiday. And Christmas was one that we celebrated religiously. And being a part of the family with Vin, he's more like, I don't know about Christmas. Like, here we're just going to spoil kids with gifts, and they're going to, if you have any kids, like, and you, like, give them gifts every Christmas, they expect big gifts, they expect good gifts, blah, blah, blah. And, like, it's kind of weird because you're supposed to be celebrating the birth of Jesus and, like, how he came and all of the gift that he was to humanity, but instead, like, you have these kids tearing through gifts and, like, disappointed at the end that they didn't get enough. It's very weird. But I, like, love the Christmas season. Well, Vin's kind of like me on it, so that kind of made me think, yeah, and I started noticing more, like, the reactions, like, people demanding more or whatever, but they've come a long way in that, I think. But anyway, Halloween was something that was, like, completely off limits. That's not something that you involved yourself in really either. But both of us were like, well, let's just do it. So we jumped out there, kids got all dressed up, and we went out trick-or-treating. And I was amazed at what the holiday was. Like, going door to door and seeing a lot of elderly people, like, coming to the door with bowls of candy, and like the way that their eyes looked, you could tell that this was a moment that they look forward to because people come to their house, and they get to see all these little outfits and these kids. And for them, it looked like it was a treat to be able to pass out candy just to get the kids over there and see their little faces and stuff. And it was heartbreaking in a sense because it was like, whoa, once a year. And these people probably really look forward to that once a year experience.
They were more happy to give away the candy.
Yeah.
Than the kids were to have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I would agree with that.
And I remember after that, Christmas is not about Jesus, it's about gifts, OMG. But I remember sitting in the car and watching that scene and looking at you and saying,
this is insane.
This is way more Christ-like than
and
Christmas.
All the neighbors were walking, you're walking down the street together, laughing and joking, nice outfit, this and that. Like, yeah. It felt very like community.
It was a complete communal thing. I was like, here again.
We've been bamboozled.
It's like, it's a pagan holiday. Well, the pagans got that right.
Right.
I don't care whose holiday.
Because this pushing and shoving Christmas holiday stresses everybody out.
Look,
there's
man,
a problem.
You know, honestly, I gotta tell you, you know what really soured me to Christmas? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you.
What?
We spent Christmas in a homeless shelter. Mm-hmm. The Christmas that we spent in the homeless shelter was the Christmas that Tickle Me Elmo was this ridiculous thing.
I'm sure
I don't know if you guys remember this. Delaney, you're not old enough to remember this, but there was this thing called Tickle Me Elmo, and it was Elmo, and then he would move. People legit died. People legit died, like in stampedes and shit, to get this Tickle Me Elmo doll.
For real.
They legit, not even like expired. They left this planet.
A lot of times, we're from Maine. Not a lot happens here. We'll hear about over there in that state. Over there in that state, this happened. It happened in our state, at our Walmart, right? Mm-hmm. People were getting run over with carts.
Yeah,
Old people were getting killed over this stupid Tickle Me Elmo. And then years later...
You better give that up.
Yeah.
They even made a movie about it with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the entire plot of the movie was he wanted to get this Tickle Me Elmo to his kid for Christmas.
It's crazy because, and it was pretty expensive at the time. I just remember seeing it. Oh, he doesn't.
What?
Years later, this Tickle Me Elmo thing, I remember seeing it on a shelf, like it was on the clearance rack. And I'm like, yo, people died for that stupid thing on the clearance rack right now.
Yeah, it was no joke. But, so that's what soured me to Christmas, because here I was in the homeless shelter, and it wasn't like, oh, we're homeless and these people, because the fact of the matter is, I've said this a million times, I was okay in the homeless shelter. We were fine. We had 3 squares a day. Mm-hmm. And hell, at Christmas, we got Christmas presents. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, it was one of the best hauls we ever had.
Yeah, yeah.
Guy showed up. Nice little synagogue. That's where we were at the time. We got sock and boppers. I got a radio controlled car. It was a badass car. So it wasn't the fact that I was in the homeless shelter that turned me off to Christmas in that situation. It was just like,
seeing the...
I was like...
It's friggin' madness, man.
And you know what's weird? Like, because my mother was so educated, we all knew eventually Mom is going to recover. She's going to walk into some hospital and come out with a job because she was a registered nurse and she was a badass.
We already heard about the car she was driving that was talking back in the 80s.
Right. But there were so many other people at the shelter that, like, they didn't have it like that. And even if they got out of the shelter, like, they're standing... So I'm like, here we are in this shelter, like, people are, you know, like, literally don't have any place to stay. And people are fighting over Tickle Me Elmo. But here's my point. Well, it completely diverted from the point. The point was, like, I just saw, like, the banality of Christmas and the materialism. And I was like, yo, I'm done. That was, like, the last time I looked forward to Christmas, honestly. I never looked forward to Christmas after that.
Really?
Yeah, I really did.
I love Christmas so much.
I was done with it. I mean, but Halloween was crazy because it was so communal. And
it's unbelievable.
People, look, the more digitized we get, like, it's this weird thing where people are still alone, but there's, like, this sort of, like, guise of community because you're online. Like, I think about it a lot, you know, in our context with our community, and I look at and I say, well, yeah, but people are making real connections, real friendships, having deep conversations with each other. So people are getting to know each other, and they do have people to look out for. And I'm like, okay, as long as that's happening, then I'm good. I'm glad we have that kind of community. I wouldn't want it to be, oh, we listen to metal and everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm okay, you're okay, yada yada, and nobody knows anybody. Most of the folks in our crew generally are kind of outcasts anyway.
Yeah.
They're kind of
Yeah.
have a hard time fitting in with other people and all that, and, you know, various mental health issues and people not being able to kind of understand that and accept them. That's generally been our community. But loneliness is you know, my mother died alone, you know. That's a there's a lot of people that are, like, by themselves and just so alone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, God can't even be alone. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, nope, I'm going to be at Trinity. However that works. Like,
I'm going to be at
you know what I'm saying? Like,
me.
seriously,
Yeah.
from a Christian worldview, like, not even God himself can bear being alone. And we got this weird-ass society, man, where people are alone. And there's 8 billion of us, and somehow, that's the thing that's crazy to me. It's like, there's 8 billion of us, like...
Yeah. There's somebody like you. There's lots of people like you out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like you, but, you know, that's why I'm glad with the internet, people can kind of find each other. You know? We wouldn't have found all these...
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm these people, like my legit friends. Like, if they, you know, we just had one of our friends, she's taking care of some mom or whatever, because she's trying to walk the talk with her pro-life stuff. Oh. And so she just goes and adopts, you know, I'll take care of you. She gets in the business, and, you know, she put the bad signal out there, and we're able to, all of us as a village were able to come through and help this girl, help another girl.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm glad for that. I'm glad, like, that there's something real and tangible that I'm like, okay, like here we are, and I'm hoping as the Discord and all that people, make those connections and have real tangible relationships if they can't make them where they are. But I still believe that you got to have some flesh and blood people around you. Like you can't because physical touch is important. Or even physical proximity is important.
I agree.
I mean, shit, man. I remember I was in a situation and I was certain that people were going to get a bad phone call about me. And one of my guys was like kind of like an L shape because we were in an L type of thing. And I just broke where I was supposed to be, and I went and sat next to him, just like 2-3 feet away from him. And we both knew like I wasn't supposed to do that, but I just. And he looked at me, I looked at him, and he was like, okay. And I just wanted to be 2 or 3 feet there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously that didn't happen. He's good. He's got his family. Everything's doing good. Gang. But when we were our ride finally showed up, and everybody was blah, 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 and me and him were in the back, and we didn't say a word. It was just it was such a crazy. And I just think it was because of that situation. It was just bro moment, whatever you want to call it. But it was a crazy moment, and I got yelled at pretty big.
Did you?
Yeah. People looked at. They started running tapes and shit. They're like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" The guy, you trying to be a hero. You trying to be a hero. I wasn't trying to be a hero. I was trying to make peace with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this, guys. Speaking of COVID, I've been staying away from Middle America, just because, especially if like it's a racial issue or whatever. I generally stay away from it, mental health stuff. But I was putting stuff together for my Middle America episode about this kid who went around and killed all those people. And everybody's circling the wagons right now, disgustingly trying to blame each other. The Democrats they're saying, "Oh, the guy was a Democrat," and Republicans are saying, "No. He was a leftist. He called himself a leftist." Yada yada yada.
Oh,
it's just really sick thing where people don't know how to turn off the switch, and just say, "How about we say this is a horrible fucking tragedy?" But one of the things that the kid said, and I want to find it because I had the screenshot, and actually, let me see. I still have it. Let me see here. This kid says that he wasn't a racist. Okay? He said, "I was not born racist. I didn't grow up to be racist. I started browsing 4chan after extreme boredom. Remember, this was during the outbreak of COVID. So this kid is by himself. He's alone. Didn't have a lot of friends. And then the few times he did have human interaction, it got shut down because all these kids got taken away from their friends. And everybody knew this."
Wait, how old was he?
He 15, 16. Suicide rates went up. This kid that did the shooting, he's not that old, that kid. He's a young kid. And at least he was
oh my gosh.
When he was radicalized. But my point is, like, and we had this locally where like suicides were up. We lost people. We lost a local kid here who took himself out on Facebook Live. This kid in Maine took himself out on Facebook Live, and this kid live streamed the Twitch thing when he went around shooting people. I mean, I'm telling you, loneliness it'll kill you.
Yeah.
It'll really, really kill you. And that's one of the things where when I was talking about COVID and I was talking about lockdowns and shutdowns, he's 18, Middle Earth has it. When we were talking about COVID and we were talking about lockdowns and shutdowns, and I was saying, yep, but we also have to look at the mental health side because that's an issue too. Domestics went up. All these things skyrocketed when people got isolated and then they ended up alone. In Maine, the kid unfortunately took himself out.
Shoot.
This kid took a bunch of other people out. But one of the angles that people aren't looking at when it's like all these young kids are getting into this white identitarianism, et cetera, is it possible that they're so lonely and isolated that being part of a group, you could say, I'm white. It's not that the kid is a card-carrying racist.
Yep. No,
it's that he's completely alone. He's a loner. He has no identity. He's not accepted. And then, boom, there's this group of people that says, hey, we like you. We accept you. You're one of us. Simultaneous to that, he's got all this rage because he's lonely. So this white nationalist shit gives him an outlet for both. I'm not making excuses for the kid. I think obvious, you guys know, but that's a real issue. Isolation is a real issue. And we can't pretend that what we did to these kids doesn't have serious ramifications.
Yeah.
We took those kids away from their friends. We locked them in the house, and then we told them, fucking do some distance learning. And not everybody's like us that has 19,000 kids in the house, so they don't feel any difference. These kids went from hanging out with their friends every day, having a routine, to absolutely nothing, and it wrecked them. And nobody wants to talk about it, and we're never going to talk about it because we're talking about, the gas prices and Roe v. Wade and Ukraine and all this other shit. But I fully believe that if it wasn't for that that lockdown, that kid wouldn't have done that. I really, truly believe that. Because
kind of. You know, you always say, like, oh, people don't treat kids like human beings. They're like something else. If you think about it, if domestic violence was up, and if suicides went up, and if all that mental health stuff was up, that means that the adults that were trapped inside were around the kids, and the kids not only had to lose their friends, but they had to be around that environment, that unhealthy environment. And so that is going to have an effect on this group of kids that had to experience it that way, because we're not hearing from those kids because they're still kids, so they're not going to post up on social media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's say you're 9 or 10 years old when this goes through, or 10, 11, all in that range where you're not social yet. You're not on social media, so we don't know the deleterious effect that it had on that crew.
Yeah. Loneliness is terrible, guys. It really is. If you can offset the loneliness, what's up, Kai? If you can offset the loneliness by the internet, great. But you got to get out there and
you do
physically have somebody.
Let me just say because some people are like, I really want to jump on Patreon and kind of get into those crews and talk to people and stuff like that, but you don't have $1 a month to do it. I'll tell you guys a hack. This is the horrible, most terrible business thing I've ever done, but who cares? Just go onto Patreon and sign up on Patreon, and then quit Patreon, but you can still follow. Don't unfollow us. And then you're still in our Patreon. You can still access hanging out with other people, chatting, and stuff like that. So just do that. We don't have any issue with people going in there. If you don't have the $1 a month, we understand, shit happens. So go in there and get the help, hang out with other people. And obviously that's not enough. Our Patreon and our Discord is not enough. You need to, meet new people around where you are, but it's a good place to start.
It's a good start. But, I get it, I put a thing up there, pray for the shooter or whatever. And of course, all my brothers got after me. The problem is, anytime I see these young white kids, they're my son's age.
I know.
You know? Mm-hmm. Who was the kid? The kid that was crying on the set. I forgot his name.
Kid that was crying on the left?
Kid that we're all supposed to hate because he shot those people during the...
I don't know what his name is.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh,
You know, he's on the stand crying and all this shit. Everybody, oh, ha, ha. I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. What do you know about it?
Yeah.
But all I could see was my son. And when I see this, like, this little 18-year-old man, all I see is my son, man. I see somebody completely misguided. I was reading the manifesto, and I'm like, he wrote 180 pages. I'm like, this kid,
Oh my gosh.
brilliant kid. A lot of it was cut and paste, but still brilliant kid. So much promise. I'm like, and, you know, honestly, I read the thing and I thought to myself, if Dorian would have been around him, he'd have a completely different. He'd be completely different. You know, but we're just so big. We just want to crush people, man, and we just want to hate people, and we don't want to look at why. We don't care about why people do what they do. We just want to, oh, there he is. He killed those people. We hate him. Oh, it's Kyle Rittenhouse. We hate him. Just let's hate everybody, bro. And let's not think about isolation and depression and being a disenfranchised person, and you combine it with the fucking news and the internet and how the news is purposefully dividing us all and using all this fucking extreme language, and you put a fucking 16, 17-year-old kid into that cauldron and say, come outside of that, a regular American citizen, and
No, you're right. And
no accountability. It's just the kid is a monster. Okay. All right.
We already know that a kid's brain is not fully formed until, what, 24?
Yeah.
He's 16, 18 years old. That means... Shoot, man.
Look. I've seen a huge increase in mental... Okay, Cassia is a teacher. She's a teacher. So this is front line from a person who's invested their lives in these kids, okay? This is not me. I'm not in the school system. I don't know. But she's saying I've seen a huge increase in mental health issues with my students in the last year. Look at what she says. They also don't know how to appropriately interact with each other anymore.
Yeah.
Think! You're on the internet.
And
You
everybody
say all
can say
types of
whatever they want.
crazy
Yep.
shit, do all types of crazy shit, sexual innuendos, blah, blah, blah. But then when you find each other in the real world, you can't say that dumb shit anymore, bro. Like, you're not on... Exactly. Right? Exactly. But we don't want to look at that. So now people... So Cassia has to now figure out how the fuck to deal with the ramifications of this. We've had plagues before. We've had shutdowns before, but we've never had social media and our crazy ass media that is purposefully, because they've discovered that this kind of division is very fucking lucrative. So this is a cauldron that we're putting these teenagers into.
Yeah.
And these young adults into.
Yeah.
Delaney, keep your fucking head, sister. You too, Montgomery, if you're still around. You guys are amazing. And we got a lot of hope invested in you guys. But if things get difficult, talk to people. Anyway, that was the Smiths. I'm sorry for the big long thingamajiggy. But isolation is a motherfucker, and it will kill you. But there are ways, and you will find your tribe. Whether it's a village or whoever, you will find your tribe, for sure. If you just give yourself a chance, and if you give those other people in your tribe to find you, you'll find them. So, young people, stay with the best you can. Do the best you can, guys. Because it was tough for me coming up. I don't know how you guys... And God bless the teachers, because... they're carrying a really heavy burden, these teachers. So, God love all of you. I mean, my kids aren't in public school, but...
Yeah, but we even hit a point before we really knew, like, how bad COVID was or whatever. We hit a point where we were like, we gotta send the kids out to hang out with other kids.
Yeah.
The other kids were kind of coming out of their homes, and started hanging out. We were like, go make some friends. And I was just praying, God, please protect them from getting sick and anything horrible happening to them. But they need to be around other people.
But that's what we do. Like, physical health always gets prioritized
over mental health. Yeah.
This was not a discussion. We didn't discuss this.
Yep.
nobody talked through this with the American people.
Yeah.
It was just, we're shutting you down, man. And look, I understand all of it. I don't blame anybody, Republican or Democrat, for the beginning of this thing, because we've never seen it. Like, I get it, but it's not something we thought about. And the other thing that bothers me is I don't see a lot of like, okay, this was a bad ramification. Here's what we can do for these kids. We never did that. It's just a giant gap. These kids are falling through the wayside, especially now. Forget it.
Yeah.
Ukraine, row, gas, inflation, teenage kids, fuck them. They're all just crazy. Let's just say that they're all crazy, and let's just say that this kid he was just some horrible ass mom. Fuck him. Fuck everybody. Like, think. Anyway, there you go.
Silent count.
It's another silent count for me. We got one more song for you guys. Holy shit, negative vibes. We on the way.